record. Okay, so sorry, recording. And where were we on Monday? We were the bill estimator. It was, as far as we got, I believe, was posted on the canvas. So you should have, if you programmed along Monday, you have it. If you didn't program along, you can download it. And what do we have so far? We have, if you had a single or a duplex or a row. So I have a row. You enter the season. I don't know, still in summer or is it fall? It feels kind of fall-like today, so I'll say fall. Doesn't matter whether I have central air for fall, but I'll say I do. And then we'll do the estimate. So I said row, I said fall or spring, and there we go. So we're collecting our information, and then we need to have all of our categories. And that's where we had gotten to. We have our categories. We asked what kind of house it was. Remember, when you are asking those questions, you have to use two equals. A very common mistake when asking is to have one equal. One equal is an assignment statement. That means you are making two things equal by assigning the one value to the other. If we're asking a question, and that's what we're doing in an if, we're asking a question, then it is two equals. When you are comparing strings, which is what we're doing, the strings are case sensitive. So if if my data comes in from my user, capital S, small I, N, G, L, E, then that's exactly what I must put. So you got to be very careful with comparing strings, that you spell things. Like here I have in 46, I have an alert. The alert is just something I'm showing the user. I can spell it any way I want in the alert. But this word kind, to get to this part of the code, what I got for my variable kind must match this exactly. So must have a capital S. And I got that kind from the type dropdown list. And here's my type dropdown list, and my value was single with a capital S, so it will match. So if you have the users type in the box, it's much more out of your control. That's why we liked the dropdown select here. It gave us a lot more control over what was coming to us as coders. It could be single with a capital S, duplex with a capital D, row with a capital R. That's all it can be. There are only three possible choices. Once you open it up for them to type, you got to deal with the fact that they could type anything. Okay. So this is where we were, and I started filling in some numbers, and then we ran out of time. So I think I have maybe it's in my downloads, the description of the problem, electric bill estimator, there it is. So I want to fill in the rest of the numbers. I want to display the answer. I saw some of you already were displaying the answer. So it was 50, 250, 50. That was here for the single. What is it for the duplex? And I'm putting in the bill. And for the duplex, it was 40, 40, and 200. The winter is the expensive one, so that was the 200. And the summer, we have to come back and deal with if they have central air and if they're using air conditioning. But for right now, we're assuming they don't. And then in the row home, it was 35, 35, and 175. Semicolons I don't need, but I like to have. Your next course, if you're IT, your next course is more IT-ish, but if you're computer science, your next course is Java, and Java wants the semicolons. JavaScript, you can have them, you don't need to have them. All right, so now I filled in the numbers, and am I displaying? Here I'm displaying. So now I should be able to say that I have a row home, that it's fall, and I know it's a row home in fall, and there's my $35. Okay, now we need to do the air conditioning. We decided to do the air conditioning as a checkbox. We only are going to run the air conditioning, presumably, in the summer. So I only need to ask that in the summer parts of the questions. And so I can get something here, or I can ask the question about it in the summer. So let me just put it here in the summer. So the bill's 50, unless they said, yes, I'm going to use central air. So now I'm going to ask a question about the checkbox. So it's an if, because I don't know if they check the checkbox or not. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question about the checkbox. And then we're going to do something. So if my question is about the checkbox, document, get element by ID. I need the ID of the checkbox. That was Monday, I don't remember, so I'm going to scroll up. Where's this checkbox? Here's the checkbox, has an ID of CHR. I like to have the prefix and then to say a little bit of what it does. So I chose my prefix CH. I'm not consistent on checkbox. Sometimes I'll call it CB, sometimes I'll call it CHB or CHK. But I like something that tells me it's a checkbox and something that tells me it has to do with air. So here I am in summer. And I'm pasting in the checkbox. And the checkbox is a whole big complicated thing. I want to know a property of the checkbox or a state of the checkbox, whether or not the person said, yes, I have air conditioning and I'm using it. So I'm going to hit a dot here. And here are some bunch of suggestions of things. It's a very long list of things. I never want these capitalized ones. Okay, now here I am in the small letter ones. And what do I want? What do I want? Click would be if the event of I'm clicking the checkbox. Actually, I didn't see what I wanted there. If I'm honest, I didn't see. Not helping me very much. I think, let me go here. Well, let's just go here. I think it is checked. Well, let's see if that's right. So let's just see if we have what we think we have, and then we'll come back and fix things. So here I am in the row home. No, I'm in the single home. I'm in the single home. during summer, and I want to know if my checkbox is checked. So I'm in the part about single home. I'm in the part about summer. I'm asking if the checkbox is checked. So that's what I want to save it. I want to test it. Do I know whether or not the checkbox is checked for a single home in the summertime? That's all I've done. So here I am. Let me try to squeeze it up so it doesn't take so much room. Okay, so I'm a single, I'm in the summer, and it's not checked. It says that I'm a single home. It says it's the summer, and that's all it says, $50. Now I'm going to check it and do it again. And it says I'm single, it's in the summer, and the checkbox is checked. So I have properly asked the question, is the checkbox checked? Yes, you agree with me, you don't agree with me, you understand, you don't understand. I have a thumbs up. Thank you. So I need to change the bill. And what was that? That was the expensive one. That was a single house in the summer with central air, 200. Of course, the cost of everything went up this year, as you know, so these numbers are ridiculous, but okay. So now I have to ask the same question. The way my ifs are arranged, there are other times when it's for other types of houses where I have to ask a question about it being summer. So I'm going to copy. I always like to cheat when I can cut when I can. I want to copy this if 4 lines from here to here. That's the unit. Remember that you can right click and format. And it helps you if things are lined up. And here is me asking the question about whether the CH air checkbox is checked, and then changing the bill. So I'm going to copy that, move it into other sections of the code, the other summers for the other types of houses, and I've got to change the 200 to the price for that type of a house. So here's summer again for the duplex. That's where I want my code. Make a little room and paste it. And then I'm in the duplex. The duplex was 150 for the summer. And then I want to do it again. So this is what I just did. I'm in the duplex. I'm in summer. I added the code about the checkbox. And now I'm going to go down to the row home. Here, now I'm in the row home. That's the else. I'm in the row home. I'm in the summer. Here's me asking about the checkbox being checked in the summer in the row home. And that's 175. Is that 175? Row home, no, 125, sorry. It's the summer price, 125. So now we have all of our whole scenario. What season is it? What kind of house do you have? If it's summer, are you using your central air? Are you using some kind of air conditioning? And so we have all of our cases accounted for. This will be your job if you're writing code have you taken care of all the cases? We very much controlled how they enter their data with drop-down selects and with a checkbox. So they could only enter single duplex row for that type of house. They could only enter fall, winter, spring, and summer for the season. They could only say, yes, I have air conditioning. No, I don't have air conditioning. Limited their choices, and we wrote down all the possibilities. There's some possibilities we don't care about. We don't care if they have air conditioning in the winter. So we didn't have to, it was just winter either way. But all the cases are that every possibility that might occur is accounted for. Are we okay? Now, I said there were other ways to do this. This is one way. This was the nested ifs. If you put one if inside another if, it is said to be nested. So that we have the ifs about the season inside the ifs about the type of house, and that is nested. I'm going to do, I'm going to take my whole code. I'm going to do a file, save as. I'm going to call it bill estimator underscore fall 22 E. And I'm going to work a different way. How is this different way that I am going to work? I'm going to work, we did a little bit of this work here with what we call Booleans. Instead of having fall and spring as separate cases, we combine them into one more complicated case, saying it could be fall or it could be spring. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that open and that open. So here's my new one, B. I'm going to keep getting the stuff off the page. So I'm going to get kind off the page. I'm going to get season off the page. I still need that. I'll still say let bill. I'm going to gut the whole if and come back and rewrite it a different way. Now I lost it. So I'm going to take my if. So for me, that's 100 up to where the if started, which was for me 45, and I'm going to cut it. And now we're going to start to write it, try to write it a different way and see how far we get. Okay. So now I want to use more Booleans. So I want to say that if it is, what was the first possibility here? If the house is single and it is fall or spring. So I want to ask this, all of this single, fall, or spring, I want to ask that all in one if. Let me do winter first, because winter is a little bit easier than fall or spring. So let me say if it's a single house and it's winter, what do I do? So I want to combine, instead of having one question inside the other, I want just one more complicated question. This question is going to be an and instead of an or. Okay, so the question is if, and what's our data? There's the kind of house and the season. So if the kind, and remember we're comparing strings, so equal, equal. So if the kind is single, and a lot of you yesterday in lab wanted to use the and kind of thing for a range. If I'm greater than this and if I'm less than that. So this is how you do an and with two ampersands, and you need two full conditions. And if the season is equal to, let's do winter first. Then the bill for a single house in the winter was $250. Here's why what some of you were doing for the range wasn't working. I'm asking for two things to be true. One of my questions is about the kind of house, and the other question is about the season of the year. And they must both be true. For me to say that the bill is $250, those things must both be true. I must have a single type of house, and it must be the winter. And so you can see that it's possible for me to ask two questions about completely different variables. So this is the way that the JavaScript language is written, so that if you are combining two true or false questions, they can be about completely different variables. If you decide to use this about one variable, that's okay, but you must repeat the variable name. You must announce that both of my questions are about the same variable. So if you were doing the lab yesterday and you were saying, I want my temperature to be between 97 and 99, and I'll say that's a normal temperature, that's actually two questions about temperature. One is the temperature greater than 97, and another question is the temperature less than 99. It's two questions separated. They both must be true. So it's an and, it's an ampersand to ampersand. But in this case, we see that I can ask two completely different questions, and they need to be full questions. And so even if I'm asking a question about the same variable, the language is set up that you must write two full conditions. I can't just ask, I just can't put temperature less than and temperature greater than. I have to say temperature less than and temperature greater than. It needs to be two full-blown conditions. Here it's natural that it's two full-blown conditions because it's about two different variables. But it must always be in JavaScript. Certain languages will allow you to do what you did yesterday. JavaScript isn't one of them. You're writing JavaScript, you have to do what the language you're writing does. Questions? Okay. So let's do this, and let's do our alert and say, what is it? Single. The alerts are just to see if I am where I think I am. This was single in winter. Okay. And this is a different program because I renamed it. So open it in the live server. If it's single and it's fall, I'm not going to get there. Nothing's going to happen. I may get an error. But if it's single and winter, then it should pop up. If it's duplex in winter, I don't see anything. If it's single and summer, I don't see anything. But if it's single and if it's winter, then it pops up. So that's an and. Both things must be true. Okay. Next, what do I want to do? Let's keep with single. I'm going to do it as an else if. And I want to know if it's a single. And do you want to do summer Or do you want to do fall or spring? What do you want to do? Faster than you. Do you want to do fall and spring separately, or do you want to try and combine them? So this combine them. Okay. So now I have to tell you about these Boolean things. And it's kind of like multiplication. Some later course I'll tell you why, but now I'm just telling you the and is like multiplication. The or, because it's fall or spring, the or is like addition. And why am I telling you this thing that it's sort of like? Because if I wanted you to say that it is either fall or spring and it's a single house, if I wanted you to do some addition, then you had to finish off the addition and then do the multiplication. What do we need? You're going to, if there's some or something like addition, then I want to do before I do the multiplication. What do I need? Parentheses, exactly. So I need to do the fall or spring in parentheses, and then I can do the single. Then I can do the and part. I can put, it doesn't, I can still do this. And then I'm going to do this. But here's where I need the parentheses. The season is fall or the season is spring. Okay, thank you. That wasn't going to work. Okay, kind, thank you. And this is single, fall or spring. And what was the amount? 50. So that's what we have. So the kind of house is single, and the season is either fall or spring. And or again is like addition. And if I want to perform that first, I need the parentheses. Let's see if it works. And if you ask me, we can take away the parentheses and see what happens without the parentheses. Okay. So I'm only supposed to, if it's a single house and it's fall, or if it's a single house and it's spring, then either way we should see that. So let's try it. So if it's a single and it's the fall, it pops up. If it's a single and it's winter, I get the winter price. If it is single and the spring, it's popping up. If it's single and summer, it's not popping up because we didn't do that case yet. If it's duplex and fall, I'm not getting anything. Winter, I'm not getting anything. Spring, I'm not getting anything. Summer, I'm not getting anything. I didn't do any duplex stuff yet. Okay. Do you want me to take away the parentheses and to see it fail, or you're happy? You trust me. Okay. All right. Nobody's saying they want to see it. Okay, so now let's do else if. And I want to do if it's single and summer. Now, here's my question for you. Within summer, we had to know whether they're going to have air conditioning or not. I have lots and lots of choices. This is very, in terms of ifs, this is a very complicated problem that I've given you to do. I can nest, I can ask about the checkbox inside this little block of code, or I can add whether or not there's air conditioning into my more complicated condition here.
So this one you already kind of did, right?
We've done it as a nested if. Yeah. We've asked about the checkbox inside another if. So we could do that again.
No, let's do this.
Or we could try to put it up here.
So,
yeah. Okay. So he wants to put it up here. He likes it to be full on. Okay. So I want it to be single and summer. And you want me to first do checked or not checked? Not checked. Okay. So then we're going to document get element by ID. DH air, I think I called it. The property we're interested in is checked, the checked property. And then you want it to not be checked. Okay, I have two possibilities here. Checked is either something that's true or false. So I can ask if it's equal to false. That's a possibility. That's a separate question. I asked you whether you wanted to ask about it being true or false. You said false. Yeah. So I can ask if this property is equal to equal and put in the word false. I wanted to, if you had said you want to deal with the true situation first, we'd be done. So this is something that's true or false. This is something that's true or false. And this is something that's true or false. But we're looking for all truths and for an and for this. So this and thing, the situation I'm getting is when they're all true. So if you had said, I'm interested at this time in the central error being on, for that scenario, we would be done here because this is something that could be true, and this is something that could be true, and this is something that could be true, and we're interested in them all being true, and we would get into our condition. But you wanted the central error to be off, save some money. So we have two possibilities here. We could say that the checked property is equal false. So put it on the same level as this, except it's not a string, it's a Boolean. So we ask if it's true or false. So I can say right here, equal false. That's choice one. Choice two is that when something's true or false, I have a way, there's a notation for turning it into its opposite. So if something's true, I can make it false and vice versa. I can invert it. I can knot it, N-O-T, knot it. So what do you want? So there are these two choices. I can show you how to invert something that's true or false, or we can just explicitly write down equal false. I don't know which is simpler. Tell me which one in your mind. The first one. Okay, very good. That's fine by me. None of them are simple. Okay. So this is saying, we are saying if the kind is a single, if the season is a summer, and if the checkbox checked property is false, then the bill was 50. And then down here, if it's single in summer and let's keep it what you say is simple. I don't know if that's simple or not, but easy to understand for the beginning student. Then this is where it's expensive. So what was that? 300 or something? A single, oh, 200. Yeah, it's always more expensive in the winter. Okay. So now we have all of our singles taken care of. It's single and it's winter. It's single and it's fall or spring. It's single and it's summer and there's no air conditioning. It's single and it's summer and the air conditioning's on. And then we need to do duplex and around that. And of course, we have like 5 minutes left. But do we understand this? Because the rest of it is then copy this, maybe put in the word else, copy this, and say duplex, 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 and row. Let me do at least one series of copying, and I'm going to show you so let's copy this, and then I'm going to change, not cut it, undo, copy it, write in the word else, and then paste, Control V, there we go. And then these are all duplex. If I could spell duplex. And duplex. And duplex. And duplex. And duplex. And duplex, paste. I missed somehow. I'm not copy. I think I'm paste, 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 paste. Okay, so that should work, except I need to change the numbers. What were the numbers? 40, 200, and 150. 200, 150, and 40. And then I would do one more round. Row. What else do we normally like to do? If you change something, exactly. If I change something, I like to clear out. what is the, do you remember the event? What is the event for a drop-down select for the person altering the data where we want to clear out on change? So if we are writing in a box, it's on input. As soon as they start typing, we like to change it. But for drop-down select, we like on change. And then I usually just call it clear out, open close parenthesis. I'm also going to do it for the season. I'm also going to call clear out for the season. I'm calling a function. I need to define that function, go down to my script area. Make sure I'm outside of my other function. Make my new function, spell function correctly. I think I called it clear out. There it is. Open close parenthesis, open close curly. And I want to do what? I want to do the opposite of this tabel thing.
Same unchanged we use for the checkbox.
Very good question. So let me put for a checkbox, I usually use click. But I think I want to use it on click. So I'm going to copy the on change, but make it an on click. And then I will hang around with you and test it to see if the on change works. But I think I've had better luck with checkboxes with clicking. And then I'm out of time, of course, but make some change. There it is. Make some change from fall to winter. It cleared it out. Check it again. Make some change with the checkbox. It cleared it out. So I'm clearing it out on the drop downs. I'm clearing it out on the checkbox. I will stop recording there. Sorry, I had such a bad start for this one. Stop recording.